What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today is finally the day that we're gonna go ahead and get the injectors thrown back in my 2020 here behind me. It's long overdue getting these in. Exergy got the injectors back to me in record time, but I just can't wait to get them thrown in to see how it's gonna change the overall drivability of the truck and see if it helps spool up this Stealth Turbo any better. Now that it has some more proper fueling. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get these injectors thrown in the truck. It's gonna be a little bit of a longer video just because there's so much to it, but let's dive right on into it. Like I was saying before, we got my injectors back from Exergy. Huge shout out to them for helping me get set up with these. They're very easy to work with and their lead time is very quick. They originally told me it's gonna be like around 3 weeks because they were swamped. It only took a week and a half to get these back, so huge shout out to them to getting them back to me so quick. And the way they package them up when they come back. There was bubble wrap in here, but I took it all out just for the video to make it easier, but this is all bubble wrapped. As you can see, it's all sealed up. And yeah, they took really good care of these. I have my flow sheet for this somewhere that I'll show you guys really quick. But like I said, my trucks basically had no miles on them, so basically just cleaned up my factory injectors, honed them out, and sent them back to me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get these thrown in the truck. Now, one of these boxes, before we keep going, they actually gave me all new copper washers and O-rings, so that's very nice that comes with that, so that's one less thing I have to buy. It's in here somewhere. I'll keep digging around, and we'll get those found. And the good part is, too, they actually labeled, I don't know if you can see it on here, it's engraved in there, which injector goes where, so this is injector number 1. I labeled them when they came out. I'm not exactly sure if they can tell which one goes to which, other than the way I marked them when I sent them to them, but without further ado, let's go ahead and get these thrown in the truck here. Okay, so here's my flow sheet back from them. Basically says everything here is within factory spec, which is nice. So when you get this back, you want to be able to keep this and send this to your tuner, because they always want the flow sheets whenever you get injectors done. And like I said, my truck didn't have many miles, so it's nice to see everything's in check. And the nice part is they actually send you new copper washers and injector seals. I didn't think they did, but they put them in one of the boxes, so make sure you open all the boxes when you get them. But they only send you 8 new copper washers. There's 16 total. Now, I'm sure you can just do this, just put them on the bottom of the injector and be fine, but it looks like today I'm only going to be able to do one side. I want to make sure everything's good to go. I don't want to do this twice. And tomorrow, I'm probably just going to call up the dealership, order them. In the next video, I'll go ahead and get a little test drive of the truck. My mirrors are still off of it, and probably not the best thing to be driving around getting all that pollen and crap in my door. So hopefully my mirrors come back, and as well, we'll have these new copper washers, and we'll take the truck out for a rip. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and get one side installed today on the truck. I'm probably going to do the passenger side because that's a lot easier to film. And then you guys can see everything that's going on. So let's go ahead and get these installed. So now we got some lighting here. I'm going to try to do as much as I can from the bottom here where there's a lot more room to access things. So I talked about this in the video of me pulling them, but we'll go over it again. On this side, it's injectors 1, 3, 5, and 7. On the driver's side, it's 2, 4, 6, and 8. And like I said, just make sure that you put the proper injector back in each port here. The boxes are labeled when you get them back. So I'll probably start here with injector 7. And we'll go from there and start working our way up. So basically, you want to do all this in reverse order. So we'll go ahead and get the new seal on the injector, get that slid back in. Then we'll get the injector hold down put back in. I'll go over all the torque specs of everything. You want to make sure that you torque all this back to spec when you're doing it. You don't want to stretch any of the bolts, have any leaks. So just make sure you do it properly. Take your time with this. It's really no rush. Just get them back in there, make sure it's done. You don't want to be leaking diesel and have to do it all over again after you put all the shields and everything back on. Looking at the box a little bit further, injector number 1 says includes the seal kit. I didn't notice that when I did it before. So yeah, just keep that in mind. I was looking for the box, which one it was in. But without further ado, let's go ahead here. I'm going to get a little cup of diesel fuel so I have enough lubricant to get these injectors slid back in. We'll get the seals on. If you guys watch my old video of me taking this out, you can see how dirty these actually were. So they got everything all cleaned back up, ready to drop back in the truck. And yeah, so without further ado, we're gonna get the new O-ring slid on right here. We're gonna lube that up. We're gonna put some diesel fuel on there, get that O-ring slid down on like that. Then we'll go ahead and get it dropped back in the cylinder there. All right, so we got a little bit of our Kool-Aid diesel fuel right here. We're just gonna go ahead and drop these O-rings in here. I'm probably just gonna drop them all in there, let them sit in there for a little bit as I'm working, and then I can just pull them out, get them slid back on, just so they're nice and lubricated. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. Let them soak for like a minute, not like too long or anything crazy. Then we'll go ahead and get them thrown in the truck. So I just slid that O-ring on. As you can see, there's a couple different locations on where that can go. It's the furthest groove all the way up. That's where the seal goes. Now I'm going to go ahead here and just drop it in the cylinder, and then I'm going to put the hold down bracket on, and I'll go over the torque spec with you guys, and we'll get that torqued. We got that hold down put in there, and as you can see on the injector up top there, just kind of slot it right there like that. The sensor is going to face the back of the truck like it is in there, just like that. The hold down is going to slide right between those two grooves, and we're going to go ahead and get that hand tight, and then we'll torque it down the spec. I'll go over the torque spec with you guys here in a couple seconds. So let me get that hand tight, then we'll torque her down. The torque spec of the injector hold down bracket is 89 inch-pounds. And that's really not a lot of force. You really don't want to romp these down. So you want to take your torque wrench like I have right here. We'll put it on there, get that torque, then we'll keep moving along. I'm just going to go ahead here and repeat the process. I just got that torque, like I said, to 89 inch-pounds. I'll try to get a little more detailed video when I put in injector number 5 next, but like I said, up top there where it connects back to the rail, you want to make sure that's facing that way, and then the connection right there, you just want to make sure it's facing the back of the truck so you can plug your pigtail back in. But we're going to go ahead and do the pigtails last because that's what we did first. We're just basically working in reverse order from when we took this out. So let me go ahead and get number 5 thrown in, and I'll try to be a little more detailed on this one. Got injector number 5 slid in all the way up there. It's like impossible to get my camera in here. But what you want to do is take your bracket. This end is going to go up into the injector like this. Kind of make sure you get it semi-straight so that will just slide in like that. Now make sure, as you can see, when the bolt goes in, there will be a little bit of play back and forth. Make sure this is pushed all the way up. Get your bolt in here, get it hand tight. Don't put it in there and just start putting your ratcheting wrench on there, your ratchet on there. Just get it spun down as much as you can by hand. Then go ahead and do that. And be careful as well not to let this drop on the floor. You don't want to put any hairline fractures in this part. So just be very careful along this whole process. So I'm going to put the camera down now, go ahead and get the bolt in, and then we'll get that torqued. Now that we got the injectors bolted back in, we're going to work on getting the actual feed line from the rail to the injectors hooked back up. Now you want to be careful with this and do it in a specific order. You want to start from the back and work your way to the front. So start from injector 7 all the way up to injector 1. Now that's because some of the lines overlap each other and they won't fit back in properly. You start from the front and go to the back. And we started from the front to the back, now we're going to go from the back to the front. So let me go ahead and get those lines, get those hooked back up. There's really no torque spec for these. You just want to get them tight enough that they're not going to leak. Don't over tighten them and don't make them too loose. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about if you're doing it yourself. Just get them nice and tight. I got all the feed lines, like I said, from the fuel rail right here down to the injectors all tightened up. So basically what I did, I just got them basically as tight as I could with the wrench, and then I just did a quarter turn on each one. There's really no torque specs on these because it's all like an open-ended wrench. And you don't want to over-tighten them and snap it on the injector, but you do want it tight enough so it won't leak like I said before. Now we're going to go ahead here and get this return line back on. So what I was saying was, before they only sent 8 new copper washers. Now there's a copper washer that has to go on the top of the return line here, then one on the bottom. They only give you the ones, I believe, that go from here to the injector, from the bottom of the injector to the rail. Now, you probably could reuse the factory ones. I'm not about that, though. I just want to do it right, so I just went ahead and ordered 8 new ones from the GMC dealership. And like I said, I'm going to use all 8 on this side, and then on the passenger side, I'll do that off camera because that side is more of a pain in the butt, and you can't really pick up anything on the camera just because of a really crappy location. And life's gonna suck. But the last thing that I'm gonna have to do off camera is get those 2 fuel feed and return lines hooked back up and that clip snap back in there, and that'll be about it. Now let me go ahead and get these bolts put back in here with the new washers. I'll go over the torque spec after that's done, and yeah, that should be about it for this video, hopefully. Like I was just saying before, these are the 8 new copper washers, and this is the old one that's on the bolt. As you can see how dirty it is and everything of that sort. I'd rather not risk it and just do it properly. And so one's going to go on top of the bolt like that. It's going to go through that return line, and then another one's going to go on the bottom of the return line that goes to the injector. Be very careful you don't drop these. I think these these washers, believe it or not, are like $7 or $8 a piece from the dealership. I don't really care about the price. You probably get a universal one, but I like using all OEM stuff. Just because it's a couple more bucks, we might as well just do it right. Now without further ado, let's go ahead and get these put in, and then we'll get them torqued. Got the return line put back on all the injectors, as you can see, with all the new copper washers. Now, what I did was I started on injector number 1, worked my way back, and just slowly pulled the line up, slid the washer under, and then put the bolt through for the bottom. 1 and 3 were super easy. 5 and 7 started to get a little bit more difficult because you can't pull the line up as far. And what I did was I just turned the front couple bolts in these ones, just 1 or 2 turns, just enough for it to grab, so when I pulled up here it didn't pull out. You didn't want it too tight, or otherwise you wouldn't be able to pull up on this at all. Now that these are all in, we're going to go ahead and torque these to 80 inch-pounds. So I'm going to get them tightened down as far as I can by hand, and then torque them all to 80 inch-pounds, and then the passenger side's all done. All we got to do is just plug back in the injectors, get the heat shield back on, and she's done. So that's about it for this video, guys. Like I said, I'm just working on getting the passenger side in today. Hopefully next video I'll have the other side thrown in, then we go ahead and give this truck a little test drive to see how it performs, break in this new Stealth, and do everything of that sort. So if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. If you like what you saw, be sure to leave this video a big thumbs up. But until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Stop this conversation. Stop this conversation.